Hi golfers, Nick here for Nick Taylor Golf. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on Golf Tips, I'm going to help you golfers out that build the perfect golf swing in just 10 words. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the golf swing from two viewpoints here. So we're going to look at the face on and the side view. We're going to be taking a look at the key 10-word checkpoints that we're looking for to perform the stack and tilt golf swing. Now, first of all, just going to do my normal golf swing. So this is just a standard 8-iron. So expect this a couple of degrees inside out. Generally, slight push draw. So pretty decent hit. You can see on the screen there, reasonably straight. So this is just an 8-iron, usually pitched around 150. So rolled out there to about 160 yards. You can see on the data points there, pretty close to the middle. 3 degrees inside out, 6 degrees down, straight shot. Slight curve to left, little tiny push draw, so I'd definitely take that one. So that's my normal golf swing. Now, we're going to take a look at what things I do at my setup, what things I do in my swing to help me perform the second tilt golf swing using these 10 words and hopefully give you guys some key checkpoints. So you may have seen my previous videos. If you haven't, make sure you check them out. But first of all, we're going to do a quick run through on the 10 words. So first of all, what do? Well, first thing we have to do in the golf swing is get our weight forward, and we do this in the stack and tilt golf swing at the beginning of the setup. So as I set up to the golf ball here, if I place the ball on the grid, so you may have seen some videos talking about the grid here, so these lines are angled to represent club and the hand path in the golf swing, which we're going to talk about later. But first of all, I need to get my weight forward. What does that mean? Well, as I set up to the golf ball here, first thing I'm going to do is take my stance. So if this is the golf ball here, a good way to think about this, if I put my ball in the middle of my feet, put my feet pretty close together, you can see I've turned them out. So if I move my left heel like a club head to the left, pretty much puts me on this grid line here for the center point of the golf swing. And then I'd say for the right foot, probably 2 club heads, I'd say roughly there or thereabouts. Doesn't have to be exact, it's kind of a guide. So my heels there are, say, 3 club heads apart, maybe a bit more. Both the feet are turned out, but the point being, the ball's slightly closer to my left shoulder or my left heel, and that's key to deliver the correct angle, attack and club path into the golf ball. Now, from here, 50-50 with my weight. Now, key thing for stack and tilt, the first 2 words are weight forward. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is I'm going to push my center or my shoulders and my hips forward towards the target. So this is forward, right? As I set up here, 50-50, center the shoulders and hips, forward. I feel like I'm moving them maybe an inch and a half to the left from where they were in the natural position. So that's me just pushing that weight, and I feel the pressure kind of on my inside of my left foot here. So I can really feel that pressure just moving there. Feels like to me I have 60% of my weight on my left side as I set up here. That's quite a good guide. So that's weight forward as we set up. Now in the golf swing, what we have to make sure we do is keep our head stable. So how do we do that? Well, we have to make sure we move our shoulder down. This is the tilt. So we've stacked a weight. We've stacked the 2 centers, that's the stack. Now the tilt is the shoulder down movement, and these are the next 2 words. So as we swing back here, we're moving that left shoulder down in the backswing, and then in the follow through, we're moving the right shoulder down. So we're constantly tilting in the golf swing. If you grab a club, put it across your shoulders like this. As you swing back, point the club at the ball. As you move forward, you push your hips forward. The club's now pointing at the ball again. And then as I extend forward, this will level out to some degree. The purpose of me moving my shoulder down is to keep my head stable from both camera viewpoints. Last week's video I talked about the shoulder down movement, and a good way to sort of practice this is to, once you get the weight forward, is to, as you go back, just feel like the left shoulder here takes the club back, and then the right shoulder moves underneath as I push my hips forward. So the shoulder down movement is really to help us remain stable with the head position from both viewpoints. It's important that when we swing this golf club that we're not moving around. Now the head movement does tilt a little bit left in the backswing and tilt a little bit right in the follow through as it turns. So as I go through here, I'm turning my head. I'm not keeping it down, tilting left, tilting right with my head as I swing. So the shoulder down movement's the tilt, and that helps us keep our head stable here from both camera viewpoints. So we've got weight forward, that's the 2 centers, being to the left. I like to use a guide here. If I had a line coming up from my left heel, it's basically going from my left ear, that would be a good checkpoint. And then as I swing back, I move my shoulder down. Now the next stage that we look at here, or the next part of these 2 words, are the hands, what do they do? Well, they move along the grid. So as I swing back, my hands and my club move inwards as I go into the top of my backswing here. Now what is key is, as I come through, I'm also moving them back on the grid. Hands and club are moving back inwards in the follow through. Now, when we talked about hands in last time, I showed you a really good drill. If you've not seen that, make sure you check it out, because it's going to really help you guys get the feeling of moving your hands in. So check out my hands in video, because that's really going to help. But the key is here, we're moving the hands and club more inside of these grid lines, then back in as we go through. So weight forward, shoulder down, hands in. These are kind of building the backswing, but this shoulder down and hands in movement happens in the backswing and in the downswing. And along with the weight forward, the weight stays forward and keeps pushing forward all the way through. So we're starting to build a backswing here. So when you're first starting this, you don't need to make full swings. You just need to get the weight forward, the centers forward, shoulder down, move the hands in. Feels like that left arm's across my chest as I go back, and then my right arm's across my chest as I go through. And you can see there on the screen, can't hit it much straighter than that. It's like bang on the line. So that's my weight staying forward, the shoulder down, and the hands in. So we're starting to build the backswing, but also it's giving us these key checkpoints to look for in the follow through as well. When you're looking at your swing, there's a number of different key checkpoints that we look for, not only in the backswing, but also in the follow through. And I think that all of these 10 words put together quite nicely. But first of all, if you don't set up with the weight forward, it does make those next part or those next stages a lot harder to achieve. So now we've covered the first 3 parts: weight forward, shoulder down, hands in, backswing, and follow through. The next 2 words are arms straight. Now these are, I think, some of the most difficult of the 2 words to achieve, in my opinion. I think this is something I work a lot on with golfers here in the Bay and around the world. Right from the backswing, I see the golfer start to flex the arms. A lot of the time it's because they've not moved their body in the right way. And I've done plenty of videos on keeping the arm straight, and it's worth checking out my arm straight video, because if you do struggle to keep your arm straight, that video is really going to help you, kind of give you a drill to work on this. Basically, to think about it in another way would be, if we set up here at address and we have a certain gap between our elbows, we're trying to maintain that gap between the elbows all the way through. And I think to keep your arm straight, a couple of the key things that golfers struggle to do that with is because either the weight's not forward enough at setup or impact, causes the low point to move back, causes them to bend their arms. Sometimes the golfer will tend to sway off the golf ball, struggle to make a full turn, and they'll struggle to get any leverage or power, so they start flexing this arm to get the club round. That's another reason I see golfers flex their arm. And then as they come through, they don't get the handle forward enough to keep their arms straight and tilt their shoulders. As you can see here, I'm pushing my hips forward and tilting my shoulders. That gives me space here to keep my arms straight. So if you sway off the golf ball, you don't have your weight forward enough, you let the club head pass your hands, you're going to struggle to keep your arms straight. So I always like to work on kind of a half swing for this. And if you check out that video, it's really going to show you how I kind of achieve this position. But it's really, we're starting to build these structure of the swing here. So we've got weight forward, shoulder down, hands in, arms straight. Now that moves us on nicely to the final 2 words. What happens at the finish of the swing? Because you saw my swing there, I kind of stopped here. So how are we going to complete the golf swing? Now, this is key. Right? I did a video on this, and it's worth again checking that out to see how we achieve this final position. Now the final 2 words of the 10 words are hips tucked, and that means as I finish my golf swing, my hips are tucked under my shoulders. Okay? One of the biggest issues I see, golfers here in the Bay, around the world, their head moves too far forward, their chest points down, so the head here is in front of their hips. So we have to achieve this position where the hips are tucked under the shoulders, and it's no good doing this on the back foot. You have to learn how to move your weight forward, and this goes back right to the beginning, right? We said weight forward at setup, right? In the swing, I'm keeping my weight forward. There's no shift, keeping it forward, and then I'm continually moving that forward as I tilt, extend, and push up off the ground. So the hips tucked is achieved best when we move our hips the furthest forward. That's the best way to achieve this position. So we started to build the stack and tilt golf swing here. So when you're videoing your swing, you have to first of all check setup. Make sure you feel like your weight's to the left, the ball's slightly closer to your left foot. A line from the heel goes through your left ear. That's your weight forward, the two centers stacked forward. Then from both viewpoints, we're trying to keep our head stable by moving our left shoulder down or tilting our shoulder down. And then as we go through, we're tilting the right shoulder down as we go through to keep the head in the circle as much as possible. We're also moving the hands inwards. So we're trying to make sure that the hands are inwards at this stage of the swing. We're not out here. When you're looking at it on the camera, our hands and the club should go through the middle of my right bicep here. And as I go through, the shaft should go just below my shoulder, and the hand should exit on my left shoulder as well. And that's the hands in. And then from both viewpoints here, you'll see the kind of the gap between the elbows, basically making sure that as we hit the golf ball, the arm should be straight at this point, just after impact. But the elbows haven't pulled apart at all. So not pulling the elbows apart is a really good way to think about arms straight. And then if you can achieve all of that, then you can start to tuck the hips in the finish. You're completing the stack and tilt golf swing. So weight forward, shoulder down, hands in, arms straight, hips tucked. And that's the stack and tilt golf swing. Broken down there into 10 simple words, right? If you can't do those 10 words, start off with some small swings. You may have seen my videos talking about those 10 words, breaking all of them down. It's really important that you step-by-step process, don't move on to making faster or longer swings until you can go through those 10 words. So hopefully that, guys, will really help you understand those 10 words, what things to look for, give you some more checkpoints. But make sure you check out those other videos. I did talk about those 10 words in that little bit more detail, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. If you've worked on any of these 10 words, what success you've had. And also, if you do try some of these drills out, go back into the comment section and put your comments below. I'd like to hear how you got on with these drills. So thanks for watching, golfers. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next week for another video.